Hello and welcome to mybuildingsupplies.ie. Today we're going to talk about airtightness. With me today I have Fergal Flatley from Ecological Building Systems, who is an expert on airtightness and airtightness products. You're very welcome, Fergal. Good to have you here today.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
No bother at all. So basically, just to get going, what is airtightness and what's the importance of it in a new build?
Yeah, so I suppose airtightness for new build and refurbishment, it's a big thing that really everyone has to do in every project now. When you think of it over the last, say, 10 years or so since I've been involved in airtightness, the perception of it has changed a lot. Everyone's a lot more aware. Self-build is a big thing, so people are more informed on building as a whole.
Yeah.
But the importance of airtightness compared to maybe 10 years ago, it was important, but everyone had this kind of perception that I don't want to live in a plastic bag, that you're making this plastic box around your house.
Yeah. People like a bit of fresh air coming in.
Exactly. Where airtightness, kind of the key thing, buildings are of such a high standard now. All the different systems work together, if that makes sense. So you have high levels of insulation, you have airtightness, but then along with that, ensuring fresh air, you've, say, controlled ventilation, so the likes of mechanical ventilation with heat recovery, giving you that supply of fresh air.
Yeah, you have to have that.
Exactly. How many years ago you had, say, your insulation, but no controlled ventilation, and your ventilation then was, say, drafts around windows and doors, things like that. Yeah,
sort of naturally occurring in your house.
Exactly.
So you had loads of insulation where the actual walls and the floor and the ceiling and the roof were all insulated, but you had air gaps everywhere else. Exactly. So you were kind of wasting money on your insulation because the house was getting cold as a result of the air.
Exactly. You've high levels of insulation, then it's essentially wind washing the heat out of your insulation.
Yeah. So it's a waste of money if you don't basically put the airtightness in.
A simple analogy I like to use is if it's a windy day outside, you put on your knitted iron jumper and you go outside. Yeah. Basically, there's gaps.
The air is getting through.
There's
all
gaps
the
in that, so the air is
not a good
through.
thing.
Where if you put on a light, say, anorak on top, you're nice and toasty. That's your wind barrier helping your insulation.
So the both things complement each other basically.
Exactly.
Very good. So we know it's important, and we know that we still have to get air into the house using your mechanical ventilation systems. But the airtightness itself, talk to us a bit about what type of products that are available, where each product is suited in the build, and how each product or each part of the system is applied. So if we could start maybe with the Intello Plus here, Fergal. This is the airtightness membrane. Talk to us a bit about that.
Yes, the Intello Plus, this here, that's an airtightness membrane. Airtightness membrane, well, you'll often hear them referred to as a lot of, say, different terms. There's loads of terms out there. Yeah. But airtightness membrane or vapor control layer.
Okay. So vapor control suggests that it's stopping moisture from coming in, or water vapor, if you like, and then air obviously is air. So why is it given those two different terms?
So basically, it's giving you your airtightness, so stopping your drafts, the likes of that. Yeah. But along with that, say, the building we live in, it's a pretty humid environment. We boil veg on the top of the stove. Yeah. The amount of moisture we breathe out during the night, you'll see it on your windows. Yeah. We live a pretty kind of wet life.
Yeah. So we need water, H2O.
Exactly. So that helps your, say, airtightness and vapor control. Essentially, it controls vapor. Yeah. So different membranes kind of have different, say, characteristics to them.
So is it sorry to interrupt you, Fergal, is it that it stops the air from outside coming in, but it lets the vapor from inside go out? Is that the idea?
Yeah, so it stops the air basically coming into the building. Yeah. But then, say, the likes of, there's different membranes out there, but Intello Plus is classed as an intelligent membrane or humidity variable. Okay. So basically, what Intello Plus does, depending on the climate, it has a variable SD value. Is the term. Right. So depending on what the climate is like for a certain season, the membrane will be more open or more closed for vapor.
Okay. So it adjusts itself accordingly.
So basically, it aids in drying. So it's not like you're going to have a condensation build up on the membrane. Okay. It's airtight, but just like our skin's airtight. But you're able to perspire out through it. Okay. The membrane's the same, so it reduces, say, building condensation, things like that.
Very important, obviously. Yeah. So the likes of this Intello Plus membrane, where are the parts of the building that it would normally be used? Like where you don't put it on obviously under your floor, so you're going to be putting it I'm guessing in the roof space kind of thing.
Yeah, depending on the overall, say, building construction.
Yeah.
Ireland, we're still very masonry construction type.
Yeah.
Block build, the likes of that. So for a block build, you're generally just using it for your roof.
Okay.
So depending on if it's a warm roof or a cold roof construction, it's typically applied below your, say, ceiling joists in a cold roof.
Okay.
Or below your rafters in a warm roof.
Okay.
So that's the most common place for masonry build. Where if it's timber frame, your airtightness line follows your insulation, so be going up your walls, over your roof.
Okay.
And just keeping penetrations at a minimum.
Yeah. Okay. And like obviously, can you join it together with other rolls, and how do you do that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of, say, different system components.
Yeah.
It's pretty daunting when you look online and the likes of that. There's so many different products for different applications.
Right.
And you're kind of looking at one being like, why should I use this one? It sounds like I can use this other one.
Okay.
For like any house or any building, you get away with about maybe 5 different products.
Okay.
Membrane, a few different types of tape.
Yeah.
And the likes of a mastic or an airtight paint.
Okay.
So, say for your membrane scenario, you'll be using your membrane maybe with your roof. Then you need to seal your membrane overlaps.
Yeah.
So your overlaps are typically 100 mil over each other.
Okay.
And then taped with an airtightness tape.
Give us an idea of some of the tapes here and what's the different scenarios where those tapes are used.
So there's many different ones, but say these from the Pro Clima range. Most common one for your membrane overlaps will probably be your Tescon Vana. Okay. So this is just a general, say, it's kind of an all-in-one, to be honest. Okay. So you put 100 mil overlap on top of each other, and then you tape it with that.
Exactly.
Then tape it with that. So that's a 60 mil tape. You can get wider tapes for different applications, but just for membrane overlap, 60 mils.
And is there any other application for the Tescon Vana tape?
This one you can use it. You'll have a certain amount of penetrations in your, say, in your membrane. Yeah. So if you have pipes, cables, things like that coming through, that's perfect to use as well. Okay. Okay. Now you can use these little airtight grommets that are handy too. Yes. Yes. We have some of those actually as well. Yeah. To bring them, but we do. It's essentially they're an EDPM type of, say, stretchable grommet. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They are handy for if you put a cable in or a pipe. Yeah. You can kind of push and pull as you need. Yeah. It's kind of like a rubber kind of a thing. Exactly. There's that bit of flex. It keeps it sealed. Yeah. Where when you tape, say, if you tape around your cable with this, then your electrician wants a bit more room for install. He'll have to cut it and retape. Okay. But it's still perfect. Just leave plenty of waste on the installs. Okay. Very good. I was told before by somebody that can be used around windows. Is there any application where the Tescon Vana tape is useful around windows, or that can be used around windows? You have to be, I suppose, the way I put it is that's split. That one, isn't it? Like you can. No, this one isn't actually split. No. Okay. You can use it around windows, but I think that comes with experience. Okay. If you're not doing it every day, it's kind of hard because you have basically one removable strip on the back. Okay. Where it's the profile tape, isn't it, that you use around the windows? Profile tape. We'll have to get a roll of that later. That's similar. It's basically a light blue tape, but it has a 12 mil strip, backing paper, and then a 48. Okay. So it's much easier that you can say, peel off your 12 mil, apply it onto the window, and then return your 48. Yeah. Now with experience, plenty of installers, once they get used to it, they're able to judge that by eye onto the frame. Yeah. But just they are permanent, so once you put them in place, they're designed not to come off. So they're there forever. You don't want to overrun onto your very expensive window frames. Yeah, exactly. Talk to me a bit, if you don't mind, about hollow core. This is always a question we get asked. If you have a hollow core first floor, the Intello Plus membrane, is it useful there? It can be used there? It can be used there, yeah. So say with the hollow core, because basically you're piercing your building structure. Yeah. You're trying to keep it's often referred to as the red line rule. So say if you started down at your, say, floor slab with a red pen, wherever you have to lift off the paper and touch back down, that's basically a junction you need to seal. Okay. So your hollow core essentially pierces your internal wall. Okay. So what you need to do then is basically pre-apply a lap of membrane, which is sealed, say, to your internal wall surface. Okay. Okay. Then before you drop in your hollow core, you're leaving it, say, basically pushed out over the outer leaf. Okay. Yeah. Drop in your hollow core, bring it in again, and then basically build your wall up on that, so it's sealed top and bottom. Okay. Okay. And do you need to fix the Intello to the wall and the hollow core with any particular material?
Is the Orcon F suitable for that?
You can use the Orcon F. It's really personal preference. So say.
So this is an airtightness silicone or adhesive, basically.
Exactly, basically an airtight adhesive or silicone.
Yeah.
So the Orcon F, I suppose, where that differs, a common question I often get is, say, can I not just use a standard silicone?
Yeah.
So the Orcon F, it stays, say, tacky and stretchy throughout its lifetime.
Okay.
Where, say, a generic silicone off the shelf,
yeah,
you'll see around your bathtubs, things like that you've used in your house.
Yeah. Yeah.
After time, tends to shrink or crack.
Yes.
Where that
your
building is always moving.
Okay.
So you need that bit of constant flex there.
Didn't know that. That's good to know.
It's not something you'd use visible around windows or something. It's bright green, so it's not too nice to
look
at.
Okay.
Say for where you have your membrane at your ceiling coming over and sealant to your block, put a bead along there, tack your membrane onto it.
Right.
Those type of applications.
Do you need to prime the wall first before you put this on, or prime any surface?
No, you don't generally have to prime it. Give it a good clean down with just brush, or even if you have a little hoover with the brush attachment.
Okay.
Just get any of that
good clean
building dirt away. That's very sticky. But if you were using like personal preference, you could decide between that or the plasterable tape, the Contega Solido.
Okay, talk to us about that one. So this one here. We got one open here.
Yeah.
So this is the plasterable Contega Solido tape.
Yeah. So that one there, that can be used. You can use that for the same scenario, say, that I was mentioning there, where your membrane is coming along, say, your ceiling and down your wall.
Okay.
Personal preference, if you're doing that with the Orcon, you will have a strip of membrane coming down the wall.
Okay.
And then to plaster over that, you'd need to put an expanded mesh over that lip of membrane.
Okay.
So what some people rather
how far down do you come with the membrane?
Really, you're typically saying about 100 mil.
Okay.
But to be honest, once you seal it, you could strip away a little bit of that as well.
Okay.
You really just need enough membrane to come down and get that
sealed. Yeah, okay. And then you put some expanded metal on top of that before you plaster on.
Yeah, the membrane itself, it's not plasterable, so just wherever that lip is down on your wall, that needs to be covered by something plasterable.
And with the Contega, is that plasterable?
This is plasterable, so personal preference, rather than going around with a mastic and then a mesh, you could just use the plasterable tape there.
Okay.
So basically bring down your strip of membrane enough to come down the wall.
Yeah.
Cover the membrane with the tape, and then have enough tape, say, on your wall to get a good bond.
Okay.
Now
you don't need Orcon F with that.
You don't need to use Orcon
to the plaster or to the concrete itself.
Yeah, that's full adhesive on the back. Now with that, I'd give the wall or concrete or wherever you're using it, maybe around windows.
Yeah.
Give that a good clean down, and it is a good idea to prime before
using that, but not necessarily with the Orcon.
Not necessarily with that. You can, but it's a bit of an extra step, to be honest.
Okay.
Where with this, clean it down, but concrete always has, no matter how much you clean it, there's always that very fine dust.
Yeah, it's very hard to get a complete
dust. It's just easier to prime it.
And that can be used around windows. So where your window meets the reveal. Yeah. Am I right in saying that? That's split, isn't it?
Yeah, this one has a split, so it makes it much easier for applications. This one has, say, a 20 mil split.
Yeah.
So 20 mil onto your window frame.
Yeah.
That'll be covered by your plaster finishes, things like that.
Yeah.
And then 60 mil coming back out onto the
reveal. The block itself.
Yeah, this one here, the white one, Contega Solido SL, that's internal use.
Yeah.
Where there's an external variant as well, so the Contega Solido Exo.
Okay.
So basically just depending on if you're going internal or external.
And so how is that applied on the next? And if the window, obviously on an external block, is the window going to be flush, or how does that?
So this one, depending on, I suppose, the overall design, usually our window is inset somewhat.
Okay.
This one here, this one is applied onto the window frame.
Yeah.
So 20 mil onto the frame itself.
Yeah. Okay.
And then returned back into the reveal.
Okay.
Where there is actually another variant. So this is
Contega. that has the tape with it as well.
Yes, this has Contega Solido Exo-D.
Okay.
So slightly different.
Okay.
This has a, say, tape or removable backing strip on the front.
Okay.
So this one's generally pre-applied onto your windows.
Okay.
Before your windows are popped in.
Oh, right. Okay.
Then just remove the backing strip.
And is that something you can give to your window manufacturer installer?
Yeah, your window installer can do it. I suppose it's more you need to pre-plan with whoever is doing the install. Yeah. So you
tell them you want that on it.
That morning they get there, you can, or either they can pre-apply it before they pop in each window.
Good, very good. Okay, talk to us about the Uni Tape so far. What's that one for?
So the Uni Tape, that's kind of a general purpose as well.
Okay.
Similar to the Tescon Vana, but
Yeah.
it's a paper-based tape.
Okay.
So you're only going to be using that internal, because
Yeah.
paper and water don't generally go
Yeah,
together.
yeah, better inside just, yeah.
So
Yeah.
internal use,
Okay.
it's paper-based, so it's very easy to rip by hand as well,
Yeah.
rather
Okay.
than, say, using a Stanley blade with the likes
Yeah.
of those.
All right, okay.
But one thing with it, since it is paper, it's that
Yeah.
bit more rigid to
Okay,
use.
yeah, it's not as pliable.
Not as
Yeah,
pliable.
yeah, okay.
So if you're using, say, straight runs of membrane
Yeah.
overlaps, it's
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah,
But
and it's
for-
cheaper as well, isn't it?
works out cheaper.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're kind of doing, say, the large bulk of the work with
Yeah,
this.
okay.
Wherein, I suppose, the slightly more intricate areas
Yeah, yeah.
have a roll of Tescon
Use the
Vana there
Vana,
just to
yeah, okay.
mix and match as
Okay.
suits.
Okay, excellent. Okay, well, I don't think we have any more products to talk about, but just finally, I suppose airtightness is something that obviously there are professionals who do it, your builder can do it, but it's something that with a bit of training, a bit of self-knowledge, you can do it yourself and save a bit of money.
Yeah, it's it is one of those areas where you can save that bit of money, because we
Yeah.
know, as with everything, prices are skyrocketing on
Yeah,
everything. And
exactly. Like anywhere you
So-
can save a few pounds, you're going to want to save it. Like
exactly, just
Yeah.
doing your bit of research
Yeah.
and talking to people in the field that I
Yeah.
suppose can point you in the right direction goes a long way. It's not
yeah,
heavy work as
Yeah.
such.
yeah, it's something
just-
you can do on your spare time or your weekends and things like that. Or,
Often see anyone who's good with wrapping Christmas presents. It's very
Yeah.
similar.
well, I'd be crap at it then. So
I suppose one thing, the hardest thing I think for anyone starting off is actually getting the tape
yeah,
off the backing strip.
all right. Right.
It's one of those things where it's more awkward than
It's a bit
anything.
fiddly.
But yeah, a nice little cheat hack for it,
Yeah.
which makes life a lot easier. is
Okay.
Get the tape in your hand and do a slight cup like that. Then no pressure at all. One of your fingers, run it back over it, and
Wow.
it sticks to it like that.
All right. Okay. Okay.
I see. As you keep installing, you'll notice the top of your finger will be coated with glue. So
All right.
it's-
Yeah. It
gets
doesn't come
easier
off very easily, I'd say either.
No,
What
it gets easier
what
every
can you remove the adhesive with? Like if you do get it everywhere. Like
It's one of those things, I suppose, it's designed not to be removed.
yeah. Yeah.
So there are products out there, types of solvents that you can
Yeah.
rub on top of the tape.
right. Okay.
Now, until you get used to it, I'd be more conscious of just be careful before you do your final bond of it,
Yeah. Okay.
because it's designed not to come off. So
Okay,
it is
okay.
tough.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
say silver bullets taking it off.
Right.
There's a lot of
okay,
elbow
okay,
grease involved.
Okay. So you're right.
It's
messy. It can be messy if you're not careful.
It can be messy,
Yeah.
especially around areas like
Yeah.
windows,
Yeah.
very expensive elements like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Take your
yeah,
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay.
And do it simply. There's no reason that you need to say around your window, do a consistent
Yeah.
run of tape,
Yeah. Yeah.
cut it in 4 strips,
Yeah.
do overlaps on it,
Yeah.
make it easier for yourself to install.
Yeah. Okay.
And
okay.
always as well use your press fix tool.
Okay.
So
I don't have one there, but basically it's like
Yeah.
a flat plastic sort of a.
it's basically like a squeegee. So
Paddle,
say
yeah.
these tapes, they use a solid acrylic glue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you get the best bond under pressure.
Yeah.
So if you put this down and just rub your fingers on it,
Yeah.
safety one thing,
Yeah.
if you're doing it on your membrane, you staple your membrane into your timbers.
Okay.
So often you can get a stray staple sticking
Okay,
out
alright,
and it'll
okay.
slice you open.
Okay. Well.
But as
yeah,
well-
Not good.
If you're only putting, say, 3 fingers on it and pushing it down,
Yeah.
you're kind of getting 3 pressure points,
Yeah.
just the
Okay.
tips of your fingers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So using your press fix, it's basically like a squeezy,
Yeah.
or something you'd see to
It's
spray.
like kind of a
spray
paddle
points
kind
off
of a
the
thing,
cap.
isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, you just push it down onto your table
Yeah.
and give it a good
Okay.
pressure
That
push.
gets it on and gets it stuck nice and firm.
Exactly. It basically drives the glue into all the little mini pores.
Speaking of, sorry to interrupt you. Speaking of staples, there's another product there actually we didn't mention yet,
Yes.
where you can't staple your membrane on, but it's not timber. So this is where you've got metal studding.
Yeah, this is Pro Clima Duplex.
Okay.
So it's basically a double-sided tape.
Double-sided
So
tape. Okay.
the most common application you'd see it is if you have a metal stud system and you can't staple your membrane
Yeah.
onto the studs.
Yeah.
Basically, this duplex.
Double-sided
it's-
tape. Okay.
Yeah, it's 25mm wide, 80m roll, I think it is,
Okay.
and it's just run a strip down your
Okay.
metal
Okay.
down your metal studs,
Okay.
and then just pressure seal your
Same, right,
membrane
okay.
back onto it as
And it's the
well.
same type of adhesive that's on the other
Same
stuff.
type of adhesive again,
Right,
they all have the same
okay, okay.
adhesive.
Okay.
So they're very strong bond,
very
but
good.
that's often a thing that it mightn't be overly common, metal studs, so
Yeah.
even someone who's doing it a long time, when they come across metal studs, it's
Yeah.
kind of a question,
Yeah.
can I use that?
Okay.
Where
That'd be messy enough,
it'd
wouldn't
be
it?
messy, like
Yeah,
you'd be putting that on,
Yeah.
sticking your membrane to it, and then
Yeah.
kind of waiting for it to dry before
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
falls off.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the
Much
duplex is
handier,
very handy.
much handier. Okay. Very good. Well, I think we've covered nearly every product. Thanks very much to Fergal, and we hope you found this interesting and useful. So mybuildingsupplies.ie. Thanks very much. Take care.